Very good morning, guys. My name is Shivraj, and I have started a new series in my YouTube channel that is named as Gen Z JavaScript. So, in this series, we will be learning React.js, Angular, and JavaScript. All the important concepts we will be learning here. And I am a full stack developer with having 10 plus year of experience under my belt. And guys, please subscribe to my channel so that you will be notified for all the upcoming videos. Thank you. So guys, in this video we'll be understanding named and default export. So there is a very confusion between default and named export, especially between the freshers and the mid-level developers. So in this video we're gonna clear that confusion. So in JavaScript, in React, mainly in React, we have two types of import. First is default and second is named. And so let's break it down here. Why do we use default export? So this nodes, if you will go through these nodes, I guarantee that your confusion will be very clear. So I will give you first a general overview. In this general overview, so whenever we are exporting, right, whenever we are exporting our component, the whole component, so there we must write default, because default export means we are importing the whole functional component, and wherever we are importing it, we can simply import by any name, no curly braces are required, and then we can start making use of that. But in case of named export, as we know, React.js and the JavaScript itself is case sensitive, right? The JavaScript that we use in React.js is case sensitive. So we'll have to make sure we are using the same name in case of named export, and also we'll be using the curly braces like this. Let me show you. So this function, so here we are using named export in line number 38. It is export function scroll throttle. So we are exporting it with the name, we are not writing default, right? So wherever we will import it, we have to import it like this. Let me show you. So import this is for default, and then for named one, let me show you. This is for named one. Here we are exporting it, and how to import it is, import would be like this only. Import curly braces scroll throttle, or not this, as this will not come. This alias is when you want to do something, when you want to keep any name, and then if for alias you are typing, you don't have to do like this. Let me search export function. This is for default. Think I have not imported, but let me quickly write it down. Then there itself I will write why use named export. Okay, so this is how we are exporting, and export default function. Here in line number 103. So here we are importing curly braces, so it is also written yes. Then we will have to import it like this, import and curly braces. And guys, just to show you, I was searching this line. I know how we can import it, but just to show you exactly how exactly we do. So we require this curly braces. Inside this curly braces, you have to write the same name, because JavaScript is case sensitive, right? So this is how named export you can import. How you will export? So you will see, we will export it like this, export function. So this function I want to export, suppose, from my file. Why we are giving example of scroll throttle? Because this was my last video. You can go to my last video, there you can see we have taken the example of throttle. So in this video, with the help of same, I am explaining how the named and default exports work. So first let's take named export. In line number 98, this is how I'm exporting the named export. Named export means with this name scroll throttle, we are exporting this. We are not writing default, right? And then when we want to import it, we can just import like this, curly braces, scroll throttle this, and then from here. So this is how named export is exported and imported. Okay, and we'll have to, because JavaScript is case sensitive, so we'll have to write the same name and under the curly braces, and also there can be multiple named export in a single file. So that's where named export is having a advantage over the default export. So that's where, like for utilities, there can be various common method in our component. So for all those common method, we will export and import it like this. So we'll export them like this with name, and wherever we are using them, where we can import it like this. Simply scroll throttle comma that name, with comma separated we can write all those exported named exports, and we can import it like this with comma separated names. We can import it, right? And how we make use of default export. So for default export, we will exporting it like this. Just we have to name this, just we have to write this default. So this means we are default, this is default export. So default export is used wherever you are, like, wherever we will import it, there we don't require to write its name. We know it is a default export, the whole component will be importing. So with any name, so there, we get advantage of this case sensitive. We don't require to write any name. With any name we can write, and we can just import it. So, and also no curly braces is required. So import scroll throttle, okay, from scroll throttle. So you can go through these notes, this will be very helpful. So let's quickly go through these notes also if we have missed anything. So what does export throttle mean? So in Java module ES6, ES6 is nothing but ECMAScript 6. ECMAScript is wherever, like, this keeps on coming, ES6, ES7, ES10, 11, 12. So all this, these are kind of rule for our JavaScript. So new versions keeps on coming, new additions or removal something. So this is kind of standard, which all the web browser also they need to follow it. So right now we are using in all the project ES6. Why? Because the methods which have come in ES6 for JavaScript, those are widely being used or supported by the browser. So that also we need to understand. If all the browsers support these functionalities, then only we use that particular version. So ES6 we use mostly. So in this ES6, it is saying in JavaScript ES6, you can export values in two ways, default and named. So default export is like this: export default, it will come, and then the function name, or function scroll throttle on like this. We have this declared function, and then on last we can write export default like this. So this is also a way of defaulting of the default, this exporting the default function. And named export is no need to write default, simply export function like this, or create a function, and then at last you can write like this, export this, right? So why do we use default export? Because this file exports only one main thing, the component itself, and it is a React convention. Each component file, like scroll throttle JSX, usually defines one main component, and default exporting it makes importing cleaner and intuitive. And this is an example that we have already seen. Export this default function, and then we can import it like this, no need of curly braces. You can name the import anything. See, you can name the import anything you want, no braces is required, right? Simpler syntax, it is a simpler syntax also. But what if it is was a named export? So we need to change it like this: remove default, export like this, and then we need to import it like this, import, and in curly braces we need to import that function. Advantage is you can export multiple items, same thing we discussed, right? We can uh, export multiple function methods, whatever, right? Like if we make a constant file in our project, if there is some constant file, so we can export. Under that constant file we can create a lot of objects, so we can export each one of them, right? So this is how, like, multiple items you can export from the same file, from a single file, right, with that name. Drawback: you must use exact name when importing, because this is case sensitive, already discussed. You cannot rename freely unless you use like this. You cannot rename. Yeah, if you want to rename, then like this we need to do, you know, to do alias, because we know that in the name component it should be exactly same name, and case sensitive is also there, right? So yeah. So why React often prefers default exports? So why it often prefers is because React convention often says component should be default export and utility should be named export. Reason, every component is usually in its own file, so default exports fits perfectly. Utilities like throttle debounce may have multiple exports per file, so named exports make sense. Yes, it makes sense. In our example, this we know from previous video, we took this example and it matches the React pattern. What is the React pattern? One component, one file, one default export. Yeah. So typically use cases is the React component itself if you are doing a default export, and named export is utilities constant that I already told you, constant utilities hooks or any common functions that you're creating in your component. The function itself you can export them. So that is named export. You can export each function. So I hope, guys, I think we have very clearly I have very clearly explained all these named export examples and default export examples. I think there should not be any confusion now. If I missed anything or if you want to add anything, please write down in the comments, and your comments are most welcomed, and we will discuss it over there. So thank you guys, and please do subscribe so that you will be notified for the upcoming videos. Thank you.